All right, where's the questions? There we go. Hey, welcome everybody to the live show. Took a break last week because we were traveling. We were actually in Denver, yeah, for the launch of the Mercedes-Benz EQS SUV. That's their 7-passenger full electric SUV. Think about it in the marketplace. There's really only the Model X that would compete with it. But when you see the video that's going to be out at the end of the week, I think you'll see that Mercedes-Benz is head and shoulders when it comes to fit and finish above what Tesla offers. All right, before we get going here, we have a whole bunch of pictures to get through that people sent in. We want to do a shout out first to canadadrives.ca. Canada Drives is where you go to find a used vehicle in Canada. You go online, you do all of your shopping, you get approved for your loan, you fulfill the order for the car. It's all done online, and then they deliver it in a covered trailer often the very next day. So it's a seamless online experience. That's canadadrives.ca, and down here is carcostcanada.com. That's for brand new cars. If you're looking for a brand new car, basically Car Cost Canada describes what it is. What is the cost of the car? So when you shop, you go on there, you put in the information you want, use the promo code MOTORMOUTH to become an expert member, and then you find what the dealer actually pays for the car, which is very powerful when you go to negotiate. Okay, so I mentioned it already. The Mercedes-Benz EQS SUV video will be coming out towards the end of the week. Next Saturday, it's the Kia Sportage, or for Americans, Sportage. But not just anything, it's the PHEV. We'll tell you about that. And if you want to get a picture in for the live show, it's Zach at motormouth.ca. That's ZACK at motormouth.ca or ZACK at motormouth.ca to get it in. And we have a whole bunch of pictures to get through. So let's get into it. The first one is, this is from Deo, I hope I say it right, from California with his BMW iX. I'm going to go through these quickly. This is a great picture, isn't it? So you've got the new F-150 Lightning there with the front open and some very large boxes, and the F-150 is being charged. Now, who sent this one in? I got to find it here. I got so many of them here. That is from Jason. Jason sent that in. Great photograph. What's going on here? Got that one. Okay, then we have this Mazda 3. That's from Gary. Where's the one I want to turn off here? Okay, there I am. All right, I'm trying to figure this out. All right, then the next one is a Denali. It's a Yukon Denali. That one's from Keith. That's an impressive looking rig. Our next one, this is my favorite. Okay, I know there's some fancier cars we're going to go through here, but of all the cars that are going to be shown here today, this is the one I would actually love to have. David sent in his CT5V in this fantastic blue. I think he said he waited about a year to get it, but that car looks hot, and the CT5V is a fantastic car. Next picture, this one is... I'm going to find it here. This is a Charger Scat Pack 392. That's sent in by Razvan, I think is how you say the name. And we're just getting started here, friends. We got lots of pictures to go through. So that was the Charger. This is from Derek, who bought this new Macan and spent the summer in Newfoundland. His latest whip. Then we have another Porsche. This one is in Quebec. Danielle with his Porsche Panamera. He picked that up and he's getting some amazing fuel economy out of it with the 3.6 liter VR6. This one is from, where is it? I have so many pictures here. I didn't write it down. I apologize. That's a Malibu, all blacked out. Apologize. The next picture, this one is a Fiesta ST. Now this is a fantastic car. This is from Jean, 2017 Fiesta ST. So when that car came out, I can clearly remember then getting a chance to drive the Focus ST, and the Fiesta ST was actually a much better car. It's a great little car. So this one is a Continental GT, was sent in by Chuck, who was his most ostentatious purchase, and he's now traded it in for a set of running shoes. So there you go. This one is Scott, who sends a picture in of his Mustang regularly. He wanted to send it in because he's got a new performance pack, basically a new suspension that he's put in the car and dropped the suspension by a full inch. He says it's absolutely magnificent, so great choice. Then we have, this is a cool one. This one is sent in by Dave Reimer, who is a local guy here in Vancouver. He bought this car for his father. So it's a 2007 CLK 350, so the 6-cylinder engine. He bought it for his father's 80th birthday as a surprise. His dad always wanted a Mercedes convertible, so what a great son. He went and bought that, and it's got low miles on it and a nice looking car, so hopefully they're enjoying it today. It's absolutely stunning day here on the West Coast. This is from Abdullah, a 2022 TLX Type S. He just had it ceramic coated, looking fantastic. Our next picture, this one looks like it's taken at the Mosport just outside of Toronto. It's a Veloster N from Kermit is the person that sent it in. We've got a few more to go here. I told you we had a crap ton of pictures. The next one, this is a Hellcat sent in by Don, who has sent the picture in before him. He's obviously to show and shine. That's a pretty cool looking ride. Just a few more to go here. This one is, where is it? I have so many. This is from Reinhard. Reinhard has a Mazda CX-5. Interesting story with this CX-5. So Reinhard had a Chevy Bolt, and General Motors bought it back from him because of the battery situation, and then he was able to get that car without any markup. And this one is from Dominic. Really nice picture of his Audi S4. Sure looks good in black. All right, did I miss any? No, I think that's all of them. That was a crap ton of pictures, friends. So thanks to everybody that got yours in. If you want to get a picture in for the next live show, we will be back next Sunday. It's Zack@motormouth.ca, ZACK@motormouth.ca. So sorry that took a little time, but we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 pictures. That might be a new record. All right. Let's get into the live chats now. And we already have a super chat off the top, so I always appreciate those. This one comes from My T-Bird from Vancouver Island. Channel support from the Bank of Toyota. Combined 5.4 liters per 100 kilometers and 4.6 city on our Prius V. It subsidizes my T-Bird fuel consumption. Well, thank you very much for supporting the channel. And I tell you what, a lot of people, joked about the Prius and, not very exciting. It's been around for a while, all that kind of stuff. Well, who's having the last laugh? A friend of mine sent me a picture this morning of gas prices have gone up 30 cents here in Vancouver. That's per liter, not per gallon. And now gas is between $7 and $8 a gallon if you're doing the exchange. Okay, let's get into the questions, and thank you for the super chat. I think we have another one here. We have another one. What do you think of the new luxury tax? It's stupid how much we already have in tax compared to the States, and now this is a double tax considering a Tesla. Okay, so this is something that I talked to one of the marketing managers for a luxury car company, and said, I don't think the public is really aware of what's happened here in Canada. So on September 1st, there was a new luxury tax that came into place. It's 10% on anything over $100,000. So if you pick a car that's $150,000, now that's a lot of money. Granted, people who are buying these definitely have money. But it doesn't have to be a crazy vehicle. Like we're talking about a Porsche Cayenne S or a Mercedes-Benz GLS, easily over $100,000, and people buy these regularly. Even the new Lexus LX can be over $100,000. So if the vehicle, so anything over $100,000. So if the vehicle's $150,000, that from $100,000 to $50,000 is now taxed at 10% higher. Okay, and then depending on where you live, here in the province of British Columbia, where we live, there's another luxury tax. If the vehicle's over $120,000, it's 20%. If it goes over $150,000, it's 25%. And these two taxes are combined. So the tax on anything over like $125,000 or $150,000 in the province of British Columbia is going to be totally out of whack. So I think it's so interesting to me that the government will give you $5,000 off an expensive electric vehicle, but you just spend $10,000 or $15,000 more, and then they want to tax you back. So I think the whole thing with this luxury tax, they're calling it, could backfire. I mean, it's the old golden goose, right? Be careful you don't kill the old golden goose. Webb has got a question. Hey, Zach, is the Tucson PHEV worth the $5,000 premium over the regular hybrid? A couple of months ago, it was a no-brainer since the PHEV qualified for tax credits here in the United States, not anymore. So that's another big story. So in Canada, we have this new luxury tax. In the U.S., almost all of the electrified vehicles in the U.S. no longer qualify for the tax credit. So the vehicle has to have contents of origins, meaning the battery has to be made in North America and the vehicle needs to be assembled in North America. There's not a lot of new technology cars that qualify for that. Plus you add in there vehicles like Tesla no longer qualify because they've already made 300,000 vehicles, no longer qualify. The government in the US looks like they're going to change that, but not for this year, maybe next year. So the number of, I think it's over 70% of all the vehicles that qualified for tax credits in the United States no longer qualify. So it's going to be slim pickings to get any kind of extra discount on an electric vehicle. So your question is, should I get the regular Tucson hybrid or get the PHEV? We just had the sister vehicle, the Kia Sportage PHEV, or if you're in the United States, the Sportage PHEV. I just took it back today. We drove it for 3 or 4 days, shorter period of time for us because we were out of town. And I went to fill it up with gas. I put in $4 in gas. So what I would say to you is, yes, the vehicle is more expensive. No, you don't get the rebate, but your average fuel cost will be much lower over the 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years you're going to own the vehicle. So you got to remember you're averaging down your overall fuel consumption. So the hybrid is excellent. The hybrid gets good fuel economy. But if you've got the plug-in, you're really going to be reducing the amount of fuel you use by a significant amount. So yes, it's more expensive, but you're going to be saving a lot more money in fuel over the 4 or 5 years you're going to own the vehicle. Hey, Zach, do you have a preference for any of the Hyundai N series? And if so, which one is better all around? So there's the real N's, and then there's the N line. I think you're talking about the real N's, which are the Kona and the Elantra or the Elantra here in Canada. Between the Kona and the Elantra, hands down, I preferred the sedan, the Elantra or the Elantra over the Kona. Kona has a much shorter wheelbase. The suspension is really stiff. Over bumpy pavement, it crashes around quite a bit. The Elantra just had a much more planted feel for everyday driving. If it's just straight out going and having fun and being a hooligan all the time, then the Kona might be the one you want. But if it's just a car that has more performances and a great everyday car to drive, I would say the Elantra is the one. Better seats in that car as well. More features in that car. There's less features in the Kona. But if it comes to the actual ride and some kind of compliance over bumpy surfaces, it would be the Elantra. Now, when you're talking about N-Line, the Kona N-Line is, I think, the sweet spot in that lineup. I think the N is too aggressive for most people, but the N-Line with the 1.6 turbo, almost 200 horsepower, and really good driving chops is a hell of a car. So look at that one. Brian Martin, would a 2020 Lexus RX 350 exec pack be a good used car? Well, it's got to be probably right up there as one of the best vehicles you can buy for just, set it and forget it. You're going to have regular maintenance on that car, yearly maintenance, oil changes, service, and other than that, you're not going to have to worry about it. They're excellent vehicles. They're very well engineered. You just, buy the best example you can for the money you want to spend, and you'll have, for the most part, trouble-free driving for many years to come. Now, it's a different experience, but go and see if you can find a hybrid version, because the hybrid is, much more efficient. Okay, just check it out. Dominic wants to know wristwatch check. I am wearing a watch that I don't wear that much. And I have a safe where I keep all my watches, and I opened it up and I pulled everything out and I thought to myself, what haven't I worn in a long time? So this is a Zenith Elite Dual Time. This is kind of my dress watch, really. So I would wear this with a suit, but I've been wearing it for the last 4 or 5 days. You'll see it in the next couple of videos. Really like it. I'm enjoying it. A Zenith Elite Dual Time. So it's a dress watch with a GMT function. All right, let's go back up here. So we have 233 people on board, 52 thumbs up. If you guys could smash the thumbs up, that would be great. Chris, 2023 Porsche Macan, still no Android. I was under the impression that they were going to be adding it for 2023. I would double check with the dealer. When we did the video of it, this current year, 2022, doesn't have it, but I understand it is coming. So check with the dealer. Hi, Zach. It's dinner time here on the east coast of the U.S. What should I eat for dinner? You should get some Atlantic salmon. You're from the east coast. You want Atlantic salmon. GR Corolla or new Civic Type R? I haven't driven either of them, so I don't know. You know what I would say? Buy the one you can get. I'm sure the GR Corolla, you're going to have a hard time getting on a waiting list to even get one of those. Same thing for the Civic Type R. So the one you should buy is the one you can get. Happy autumn, Zach and Andrea. The best value EV SUV ID. I would say right now in the marketplace, the best value SUV is the ID4. They've just come out with a smaller rear-wheel drive battery to help bring the cost down. So it's a less expensive ID4 that's kind of much cheaper than a lot of other competitors. Now it's not going to have all the power and it doesn't have all-wheel drive, but they have an inexpensive version of a very useful size vehicle. One of the reasons I'm a big fan of the ID4 is it's not really, other than the dashboard, it's not really gimmicky. It's very similar to what you would get with a Tiguan in terms of design and shape. Really big cargo area, nice big back seat. Everybody in the family, it's what you're used to, a compact SUV. The dashboard is kind of a little funky with the haptic swiping, but that's the way they're going with Volkswagen dashboards generally. So that one is quite good. Now, the one I really want to get my hands on and drive, I mean, I've seen pictures of it, is the Equinox from Chevrolet. So they have announced in the United States the Equinox is going to be $30,000. Okay, in Canada it's going to be $35,000. No, that's the base LT there's going to be packages and things, of course, that you can put on it. But even at that, say you bought another package and it put the price up by $5,000. So now we're talking about a $40,000 full electric SUV. That's a hell of a good price. Throw in the rebates in the Canadian market. That's another $5,000 off. So it's interesting to see how aggressive General Motors is in terms of pricing. Now, if you've been watching this channel for a long time and you've been watching these live shows for a long time, I talked about the vehicle that impressed me the most in the last few years in terms of pricing has been the Chevy Bolt. Okay, so when they brought out the Chevy Bolt in 2021, the updated facelifted model, we had a chance to drive it, and then they recalled them all. So I think it was out in the marketplace for maybe 4 or 5 weeks. Anyway, the latest Chevy Bolt is a much improved vehicle from the first effort. And they dropped the price by $5,000 in the US and by $8,000 in Canada. And when they did that, I said from General Motors, shots fired. So they have shot cannon across the bow of everybody else in the EV space, that they're going to come to market not only with compelling electric vehicles, but ones that are a lot cheaper than everybody else. That's why General Motors believes they're going to be the #1 EV maker by 2025. They think they're on target to pass Tesla by 2024 in terms of EV sales. Volkswagen has something to say about that, but they're not bringing in any really cheap EVs. So the cheap EV, the one I can't wait to drive and get my hands on, will be the Chevy Equinox at $30,000 US, is one hell of a deal. And then following quickly on the heels of that will be the Blazer, which is going to be a little bit bigger and also is going to be about a $5,000 more than the Equinox. So if they can keep this price competitiveness that they've already done with the Bolt and the Equinox, they are easily going to be the top EV seller. Because the great thing about EVs, other than the battery recall they had, is for the most part, they're much more reliable than regular cars. Okay, I think we have another super chat here. All right, another super chat. Hi, Zach. With the shortage of new vehicles, people are keeping their old cars longer. How long do manufacturers provide parts for these older vehicles? Well, it really comes down to the vehicle manufacturer. For most manufacturers, will guarantee the parts for their vehicles for a minimum of 10 years. Now, it depends on how many are sold. If it's like a Toyota Camry, or it's like a vehicle like a Ford Taurus where they sold millions and millions of them, well, there'll be definitely parts will be readily available for many years to come. You've got to remember, there's the original parts suppliers, right? The ones that made it for Ford or BMW or Audi or whomever. And then there's the secondary part suppliers that also make those parts that might not be OE, but they are replacement. Okay, so mainline cars where they make millions of them, I don't think parts are going to be that scarce for a long period of time. When you get into the specialty brands, now we're seeing from brands like Mercedes and Porsche and so on, they're embracing their classic vehicles. And they're providing parts for their older cars. And when I mean older for Porsches, much, much older cars. Cars that are 30, 40, 50 years old, they're still supporting with new parts. Now, they're very expensive parts, but they're still providing parts through their catalog and through the dealer network. Because they realize, and this is what a lot of brands are coming to realize, is that as the world marches towards electrification, as vehicles, as I just mentioned, are more reliable because they're electrified, they don't need to be, there's not as many moving parts that need to be replaced. They need to keep the back end of the dealers running, fixing vehicles. So they need to have the parts for the older vehicles in order to keep them on the road. So I think the answer is parts, for the most part, especially if it's a mainline car, you shouldn't have too much trouble. What I wonder about are these electronic dashboards, right? For example, talk about the new Mercedes-Benz EQS that Andrew and I had a chance to drive in Denver. Well, the whole dash is a screen. And is there going to be support for these electronics 20, 30 years down the road? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. All right, 250, almost 260 people on board. Over 100 thumbs up. That's great. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. It's going to take a little while to build up the audience again for the live show on Sundays. That's what happens, Zach, when you take the summer off. People get on with their life. Okay, here's Danny's question. Can you provide a market update? Are you seeing a slowdown? Which manufacturers have the most days on lots? Which are challenged? Looking at EV6, how are Canadian dealers listing it for $80,000? So the thing about if you're seeing an EV6 listed for sale at $80,000, it's probably a used car. And, you know, the dealers have figured this out. If they register the vehicle to a friendly salesperson in the office, and then it gets brought back onto the dealer and sold as used, they can charge what they want for it. That's how they're circumventing the regulations in Canada, which is not allowing price gouging and over MSRP. So that's how they're doing it. I haven't gone through all the different brands, because what happens is the shortages and the supply chain issues seem to shift around. Some brands early on in the supply chain issue had plenty of chips and all of the supply issues were fine. Then they've gone into the dark ages. I went by the Honda dealer today and there was no cars on the lot. You know, Vancouver Honda, one of the biggest dealers here where I live, and they've got some used on the lot, but no cars. So yeah, it's really up to you to do a little digging. It's not going to get any better. I've read articles saying that it's going to be this way all the way through 2023 as well. And the only big question mark is if we have a noticeable recession. So my theory on this is all of the business channels are talking about a recession. Interest rates are going up. They have to beat inflation on the head. They're going to continue to raise interest rates. But we also have record levels of employment, record levels, not record levels, but a huge number of people left the workforce, especially baby boomers who were on the edge of retirement during COVID. They said, screw it, I'm done. I don't need to deal with this. So there's lots of people that have retired. There's a lot of jobs that need filled. Yes, interest rates are going up. Yes, they're going to slow the economy down. But I'm not sure if it's going to be a widespread recession where there's millions of people out of work. I would like to call it a technical recession. So that's 2 or 3 quarters of negative growth. We could definitely see that. But I would think most people might not notice it because businesses are still clamoring for workers. So we'll have to wait and see. Now that could definitely provide a boon to refilling lots. So if there is a slowdown and there is a recession and people are getting laid off, then people will delay purchasing a new car. And that could help fill up lots again. Here's James with a super chat. Thanks to Zach and Andrea. Appreciate that, brother. Nice to see you here. Here's Rye Clark. Cheers, Zach and Andrea, to the hard work and effort. Appreciate that. Ryan lives in the east coast of Canada, where we had not a hurricane, but a what do they call it? Post-tropical storm hit Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick, and Newfoundland with massive waves and tidal surge and big winds. So hope everybody on the East Coast is fine and cleaning up after what was a really big storm that hit yesterday. It totally missed the eastern part of the United States and went right up into the Maritimes here in BC, in Canada, I should say. All right. Speculation that Hyundai will redesign Santa Fe for 2024. Do you think the Santa Fe is dying, and if it can be saved, what would you like to see in redesign? Well, I don't know about that because the Santa Fe only came out 2 years ago with a redesign, but I wouldn't put it past Hyundai to come out with something because that's just what they do. I would say that it's not dying because there are no cars to buy. So I'm sure every Santa Fe that they made is sold. So I wouldn't call it a failure. I've seen quite a few on the road. I like the car a lot. They're probably going to be going to more homogeneous interior to keep in keeping with other Hyundai and Kia products. That might be becoming, but it's not out of the realm of the ordinary that Hyundai and Kia will change a car after 2 years. Ned, hello from South Carolina. Well, thank you for being here. Here's James. Did you see the Oh yeah. Did you see the new Canadian prices for the 2023 CRV? Wholly expensive. The Touring now $52,000 before taxes. Okay. So if you've been watching any of our Honda videos lately, so the Civic is now starting at $26,000. The HRV, which is their subcompact SUV, the base all-wheel drive model is 31 grand, and the top trim is 37. So when we reviewed that, we were like, this thing is crazy expensive. And it is very different in the United States. I just want to make that very clear. If you're watching in the United States, Honda pricing is a little more than everybody else, but it's not crazy like the Canadian pricing. So the most expensive HRV is $37,000. Then we said, well, if this is this expensive, what are they going to do with the CRV? Well, the CRV comes out, and wouldn't you know it, the base all-wheel drive model starts at $37,000. It wasn't long ago that these vehicles started at around $27,000, and then the hybrid is only sold on the top Touring, and is around 50 grand. So you're saying it's 52,000. That would be with the freight included in it. I mean, just think about this. Okay, so we just took back the Kia Sportage or Sportage plug-in hybrid. In the Canadian market, that vehicle is under $45,000. And because it's plug-in, it qualifies for a $5,000 rebate. So that's $40,000. The CRV, which doesn't have a plug and doesn't get as good mileage as the RAV4, is $50,000. So that's a full $10,000 more for a hybrid versus a plug-in. Then we'll go hybrid to hybrid. So the CRV hybrid is $50,000. The starting price of the RAV4 hybrid is 33 grand. That's $17,000 more for a CRV. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what they're doing to the brand. I just think it's, I was talking to somebody about this. I think that Honda and paying a price premium appeals to people like me and older. I'm a Gen Xer, and then older than me are baby boomers. So I grew up where we own a Honda Civic. People love the brand. They're reliable. They're willing to pay a little more for them because they're getting a good quality car. Well, a couple of things. Honda quality isn't what it used to be, and the price premium is now exorbitant. It's not even close. So I'm not sure what they're trying to do. So yes, there will be, higher income or retired baby boomers who have the money and don't care. They just say, I want a CRV. It doesn't matter what it costs, I'll buy it. And sure, but the young people that are coming in to buy their first, brand new car in their 30s and maybe their early 40s, they're not aligned with Honda the way my generation and older is. They're looking at the market and going, I like those Kia cars. I like those Hyundai cars. I mean, this is what I don't get. I mean, they're so out of step. I don't know. It's going to be fast. This would be, listen, if you know somebody that's in business school and you want to do a case study on business, that would be an interesting one to do it on, because I don't understand the business case for it myself. Okay. KPKP. Hey, Zach, what's your take on EVs and long-term cost of ownership? Feels like the lifespan is far shorter compared to conventional ICE-powered vehicles. Well, it's pretty hard to say because we haven't had battery electric vehicles in big numbers on the roads for very many years. So yes, the very first Model S's have been around for over 10 years. The The Model X has been out for 5 or 6 years. So you can look at the original Leaf and see how reliable they've been. I'm not sure I would agree with you that they're less reliable. I know that they're statistically, this is just surveys that have been done from people that own vehicles. Big surveys done in North America, another big one that was done in the UK. The most reliable vehicles were actually hybrid vehicles, gas electric. Think of Toyota RAV4, stuff like that. Next were conventional internal combustion engine vehicles. And in last place were battery electric vehicles. And I think that's just a function of teething pains, and I think that Tesla also drags that down. Tesla, as many people are aware, has had issues with fit and finish and those sorts of things. Major dissatisfaction when it comes to repairs and waiting to get vehicles fixed, especially when it comes to body work. So I wouldn't agree with that totally, but I think it's an immature market compared to a very mature market for internal combustion. What's your opinion of the 2022 Model 3 rear-wheel drive? Well, my whole thing on the Tesla is the prices are extortionately high, right? So they just keep putting the price of Tesla cars up and up and up. It's now competing with other like real luxury products, like cars that are luxurious, not cars with just a screen in the middle of the dash like Tesla. So the last I checked, not a rear-wheel drive, but an all-wheel drive Model 3 is $77,000 in Canada. And then the Model Y all-wheel drive is around $86,000. So the prices, they just keep putting the prices up. I mean, there's a lot of other vehicles that you can buy. 77 grand, man, that's a lot of money. Why are Kias getting such favorable reviews? All they are recalled constantly. That should be a huge negative. Listen, cars are recalled all the time by all kinds of manufacturers. It's just that some brands get more attention than others. Yes, they did have engine failures with the new family, NU family of engines, and those have now been replaced, and engine failures are not common at all. Yes, they had some vehicles with fires, but if you think about the latest recall of the Telluride and the Palisade, it was for a melting trailer hitch plug, not a trailer hitch, but the wiring harness for the trailer. It was a dealer install. A lot of times recalls are not because there's an imminent problem with your car. It's just that they found a problem with other cars and they have to check it. So oftentimes a recall isn't that they're going to do anything to the vehicle, they just want to check it out. I was at the Kia dealer recently talking to the sales manager, a couple of the sales managers, and asked this very question, and they said, yes, they still have the older models where they've had issues with engines, but the newer models are much more reliable. And you just have to look at other quality scores that Hyundai and Kia get, and they're right near the very top, time and time again. And the other thing is, I would ask you, as somebody who obviously follows the car industry, when was the last time that you drove a Kia or Hyundai car? So it's easy to come here and say, why are they getting favorable reviews also because they're recalled constantly? Well, the thing is, I'll ask you, when was the last time you drove a Kia or a Hyundai? As somebody that drives 100 different cars a year, and we get in and out of Kias and Hyundais and Genesis on a regular basis, they impress every single time. I mean, every single time we drive one, they impress. It's like, so the Kia Sportage plug-in hybrid, the video will be dropping on Saturday. I mean, watch the video because I don't want to give it all away, but it's like, can anything touch this thing? It's just amazing what they're able to do. Okay, hope all is well. What would you pick, Toyota Tundra or Jeep Gladiator? Well, first of all, the Tundra is much bigger, okay? You've got a full-size truck with a real bed. The Gladiator is a mid-size with a small bed. Now, typically, I would say, you know, it's Toyota all day long, because of resale. You know, if you watch this regularly, I'm always going on about resale, because what most people don't realize is the most expensive part of owning a car is depreciation. So you want to buy a car for, as best deal you can, and then sell it for the most money you can get out of it. So Toyotas obviously do very well with that. They have incredible resale value. So buying a Tundra, that's a no-brainer. But then, do you know the vehicle with the highest resale value I know this because I live in Canada, and it would be similar in the United States. The vehicle with the highest resale value is the Jeep Wrangler. So either one of these is going to be fine. I know a Gladiator is kind of like a Wrangler, but there's less of them sold. It's more expensive than a Wrangler. I would say buy the one you like and drive it, and then when you go to sell it, you'll get huge money for it. Both fantastic. I would say the Tundra is going to be more compliant to live with every day. The Gladiator is kind of what you would expect. It's a rough and ready Jeep. Hyundai PHEVs are made in Korea, thus no longer qualify for U.S. subsidies, as is the EVs, yes. So this in the United States, they brought in the stimulus package that really is trying to repatriate production into the North American market. And really what they're trying to do is to cock block the Chinese from getting Chinese batteries into electrified vehicles and bringing them into the North American market. So they're trying to onshore production. Now you think about this. Most of the mainline cars that we buy in North America, whether they're Japanese or Korean or even German, are actually made in North America. They're made in Canada, the United States, and Mexico. So what we haven't seen are the new technology cars being made in North America. Now, some of them are. The Germans actually are well ahead of everybody when it comes to this. So as I mentioned earlier, about 70+% of the vehicles that qualified for a tax credit in the United States no longer do. The ones that do are mostly German. So thinking about the X3 plug-in, the X5 plug-in, any of the vehicles that are made in the United States that have plug-ins actually get a rebate or a tax credit, I should say. So we're going to start to see this onshoring of vehicles, even with new technology being brought in to North America, whether it's Canada, Mexico, or the United States. And you got to remember, a company like Hyundai already has production in the United States. They make plenty of sedans and SUVs here, so it's only a matter of time before they onshore all of that. And that's the goal of this bill. And I think it's actually a smart thing to do. We're going to see this in all kinds of industries. With all of the supply chain issues and all of the hassle that came with COVID, a lot of companies are saying we need to have our production close to where we need it. And we're going to see more and more of that happening. It also means it's going to be more expensive. You know, those cheap locales around the world for making vehicles and parts, they're going to be brought to North America, higher labor costs. So that means that probably vehicles are going to get more expensive again. Okay, we got a bunch of super chats here. Limited reach. Honda wants to be the most premium of the mainstream brands like VW and Mazda. It's interesting how the top trim Pilot is more than the base MDX. Yeah, I would agree with that, except that their interiors are not luxurious. Like if you get in a Mazda or Mazda signature model, you're getting into a near luxury product. I mean, you're getting in a CRV, you're getting the same you're really getting the same interior as a Honda Civic. So and the features that are available, like the screen sizes and the connectivity and all that stuff, is nothing better than anybody else. It just isn't. So it isn't a premium experience. They're just charging premium dollars. Like you get in, CX-9 signature, and that's a beautiful interior. Another super chat. Is it safe to rust-proof an EV hybrid, especially where they drill holes into the vehicle in order to spray in oil? Well, you've got to remember that they're not, the components for a hybrid or a plug-in are not running through the body, right? So that's what they're really spraying, are the doors, the fenders, the trunk, the hood, all of that kind of stuff. So no, I don't think it's going to be, the major electronic components are built into the center of the car or underneath the car. So they wouldn't be anywhere near where they would be spraying the rust protection. It would be just like any other car. Greetings from Las Vegas. Looking forward to you getting your hands on the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV for reviews. I think this SUV will hit the sweet spot for a lot of people. Well, all I can say is stay tuned. That's all I can say. Here's another super chat. Thanks for the update. Been hearing strong repo rates in the U.S. as per Lucky Lopez, and I wonder if it will aid U.S. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Danny, I'd love to answer your question, but I don't know what you're saying. I'd appreciate the super chat. Always like the super chats. Holy smokes. I don't know. A few days ago it was cold, so I turned the heat on in my office. And now I forgot to turn it off. And it's a beautiful warm day here today, so I'm kind of melting in here. I've got 15 minutes to go, so I'll be okay. Ned, Lightning is pretty awesome. That picture of the, if you watched from the very beginning, we had a great picture of a F-150 Lightning. Looked really, really cool. Here's Rob. How does the Crosstrek with the 2-liter 6-speed stack up against the 2.5 CVT? I've only driven the Crosstrek with the manual transmission once, and it was for a couple of hours. We went to a launch of it, and that was for the previous generation. I was a bit underwhelmed with the power on it, so I'm really not able to give you a great answer. Every time I drive the Crosstrek with the 2.5, I always say this is the engine that it should have come with all along. So the 2-liter, you're going to be able to wring more out of it with the manual transmission, but you're not getting the advanced safety features with the manual. You don't get eyesight. You get a locked all-wheel drive system at 50% front to rear. It's not a moving all-wheel drive that they can do with the CVT. So I'm not sure if you can get your hands on one to drive. As I said, I've only driven one for a few hours, and that was several years ago now. If it was me, as much as I love a manual, I would probably get the 2.5 liter. Another super chat. Is your prime minister were a car, what car? If your prime minister was a car, what car would it be? Oh boy, that's a very good question. If you're a Chevette. I would say our prime minister is a Chevette. No, I gotta pick a car that. No. A Chevette's wrong. I gotta pick a car that is. There's a Canadian band called Trooper, and they had a song called "It's a 3 Dressed Up as a 9." And you've heard that saying, an unfortunate saying about women. She's a 3, but she dresses up like a 9. So that's how I would describe our prime minister. So it's a car that looks good, but then when you drive it off the lot, it's not so good. That's just me. That's just my personal opinion. So somebody else wrote here, he's an Escalade, okay, but unreliable. I don't know. You guys, what? Well, here's another one. Here's from Jake. Trudeau would be an Alfa Romeo Giulia. Looks good initially, but breaks down eventually. There you go. You guys reading my mind? Someone wrote here, a Jag. Very expensive and unreliable. It's amazing to see how, the tides turn on somebody that was so popular when he got elected, and now it's like... It's amazing to see how the tides turn. So popular, and then it's amazing how these guys hang on way too long. Like his best before date was a while ago, but you know what? Egos get in the way, and he'll run again, and we'll see what happens. It's going to be very interesting. Somebody just said they can't believe I'm Gen X. I don't know why. How old do you think I am? What's wrong with being Gen X? The Gen Xers are the cool generation. You think of Dave Grohl, Gen X. You know, that's a cool dude. Here's Raj. Nice to see you, Raj. What's your preference, Ford Bronco or Jeep Wrangler? It depends what you're using it for. I mean, the nice thing about the Bronco is it has much better on-road manners because of the independent front suspension. The Wrangler with a solid axle in the front, especially if you get an aggressive model like a Rubicon with the gnarly tires, they kind of wander on pavement, uneven pavement. So I'm not talking about gravel roads because that's where it excels. I'm talking about, roads, pavement where there's tire marks from trucks and things like that. It kind of pulls as you drive along. The Bronco just goes no problem. I think right now, if it was me, it would probably be the Bronco. There's no wrong answer there. Highlander or CX-9? I would say pump the brakes. The CX-9 is going to be replaced shortly, like I'm talking in the next few months, with the CX-90. Okay? Brand new model replacing the CX-9. Now, this opens up an opportunity. So, when the CX-90 is announced and when we know the details of it and when it's going to be coming, that opens the door for you. So you can look at the CX-9 and go, I really love that. That's the one I want. Or you can look at the existing CX-9 and think to yourself, okay, maybe I could get a bit of a deal on one of these. It's the very last run of production, usually the most reliable. And you can maybe, if they're trying to sell them down, get them off the lot, you might be able to get a bit of a deal on one. So this is the perfect time to be in the marketplace. There's absolutely nothing wrong with a Highlander. A Highlander's a Highlander all day long, known reliability, great resale, all of that kind of stuff. But if you like the idea of a CX-9, the CX-90 is going to be coming out very soon, within the next couple of months. So wait until you get a look at that. Thinking of trading in my CX-5 for the coveted RAV4 Hybrid XSE. About a year wait though. Jimmy Pattison Toyota in North Surrey. Hoping to get close to my purchase price of the CX-5 bought November 21. Hey, listen, there's absolutely a great time to be selling a used car and buying a new car. So if you're going to get that that sort of top trim of the RAV4 Hybrid and you're going to get it at the dealer's MSRP, then you get to play the used market as you're figuring out the CX-5 in the used market could be worth quite a bit of money. So you're only paying the difference. That's a great product. I mean, I've been on record saying the best car on the road is the RAV4 Hybrid for good reason. So yeah, good choice. Stephen, hey Zach, how's it going? It's going great. Thanks for being here. Thinking of a new car, a Kia Sportage Hybrid, but I'm concerned about Kia issues with fires. Also, any idea about the lead time to get one? So I have no problem recommending this car. I think it's fantastic. The Sportage or the Sportage south of the border is fantastic. This whole fire thing is overblown with Kia and Hyundai. Yes, they've had issues in the past. No, it's not affecting all their new cars. And it's exactly like GM gets lumped in with everything GM makes as a big steaming turd. That's not the case. They make excellent products, especially their trucks. So I have no problem recommending the Sportage at all. I think it's great. Here's somebody else replying to that earlier comment. The reason Hyundai gets good reviews on the internet, especially on Reddit, many paid bots, trolls. I don't know. Like I just can't get behind that. All I have to say to you is, look, here's the hard reality. Most people drive their car. They drive their spouse's car. They maybe drive their mom or dad's car once in a while. And every once in a while, they might rent a car. So most people throughout the year drive 3, 4, 5 different cars. You might drive a car for work. Maybe that's 6 cars. So most people drive the same car all the time. They drive their spouse's car, maybe a friend's car once in a while. So your ability to just say these blanket statements is not based on any real seat time, okay? we get a chance to drive 100 different cars a year, year after year after year. And we've seen the progress that is being made by Hyundai and Kia. And it's nothing short of amazing. So, two trends in the auto industry. Tesla put especially the luxury market on notice. They produced an electric car and they proved that people were willing to pay top dollar to buy an electric car. Kudos to Tesla. They proved that. They pushed everybody in the automotive world to go electrified, especially the premium brands to go up against them. So that's one trend. Absolutely, without a doubt, Tesla has pushed the automotive market towards electrification. But on the mainline cars, Hyundai and Kia, what they're doing with their products is nothing short of amazing. Every single time we drive one of their products, you come away very impressed. Looking forward to driving the new Kia Niro. Is going to be out in the next few months. It's just, they're producing vehicles with tech and features that just blow most other brands out of the water. Full stop, period. You might not agree with it. You might not like it. But have you driven any of these cars? Any of them? I would suspect no. It's easy just to repeat the same thing like GM makes crappy cars. I hear that over and over and over. I'm here to tell you General Motors makes some excellent products. I'm here to tell you that Hyundai and Kia make excellent products. We get to drive them. That's all I can say. When was the last time you drove a Kia or a Hyundai? Honestly. Hey Zach, you and Andrea create great content. Can you shed light on these dealer admin fees so many car dealers are adding to the price of the new car? Is it just pure profit for the dealer? Yes, it's pure profit for the dealer. It drives me crazy when you go in there and they have a documentation fee, which is code for BS. Basically, they're adding, like we bought a Honda Civic 2 years ago, exactly 2 years ago. It was September 2 years ago. And I'm in this game, right? The guy I'm sitting across from, I've known for several years, working at a dealership that I have done some video work for in the past. And I said to them, $600 for doc fees? Are you kidding me? Like, I was born at night, but I wasn't born last night. And he says, nobody, but I mean nobody, gets out of paying the doc fee. So I paid it reluctantly. I made a bit of a stink about it. But it's just absolutely a profit center for the car dealers. So you can try this. You can go in there if you're looking for a car and say, hey, I'm interested in buying X car, but I don't want to pay any documentation fees, and see what happens. Maybe 2 years ago, you might have had a flying chance. I would suspect right now, with no inventory on car lots, you got to pay it, swallow it, and move on. That's my bet. All right. All right, we've got just under 400 people on board now and 182 thumbs up. So if you guys could smash that, that would be great. Here's Jeff Fraser. Hey, Zach. To answer that guy's question about undercoating, the dealership only sprays the sides of hybrids and nothing underneath as per Toyota Canada. Get it in writing. So there you go. As I mentioned, it's probably the doors, the hood, the fenders, and they're not going to spray underneath. But you got to remember, the underside of a car, like the actual middle of the underside of a car, doesn't really get affected by salt that much anyway. It's the wheel arches, it's the underside of the trunk lid, the doors. That's where you want to get the rust proofing. Here's something you can do on your own. Now, if you're in the Canadian market, go to Canadian Tire. If you're American, you don't know what Canadian Tire is. It's a massive retailer here in Canada. They sell everything, but they started out as a sort of a tire, an automotive place, and they still focus on that a lot. You can go into the automotive section and buy a can of Rust Check, okay? Big cans of Rust Check. And you can get that Rust Check, and you can spray it on the inside of your doors, and the bottom of the trunk inside the wheel wells. You can do all of that yourself. Now, it's not as effective as when they put the rods in and they spray, they burrow the holes in and they do it all that way. But for all those areas like the underside of your hood and all that kind of stuff, you can do it yourself. And a can of the stuff is like, I don't know, $6-8. Get a bunch of them, and you could do it every 6 months, and you're probably going to be fine. Here's Ned. Gen X is the best. I'm one also. You got that right. Rye is saying he never looks good no matter what he drives. I'm not sure what you're talking about. But I like the super chat, Rye, so I appreciate that. I wanted to see any more Justin Trudeau's. Boo, Zach, we love Trudeau. No other ones. All right. Okay, well, we're up on an hour now. Don't forget to get your questions in. It's Zach at motormouth.ca. That's Z-A-C-K at motormouth.ca, or Z-A-C-K at motormouth.ca if you're south of the border. We're back on Sundays. We had to miss it last week. We were in Colorado for the Mercedes-Benz EQS SUV launch. That video will be coming out at the end of the week. There's a special video dropping tomorrow. Can't tell you what it is. But when you wake up tomorrow, you'll see a video. I think you'll be interested. And then next Saturday, we have the Kia Sportage or Sportage plug-in hybrid. What a car. I'm telling you, wait till you watch that video. It's going to blow your mind, the content that they put in it. And as I told you, I filled it up with gas. Before I took it back today, I put $4 worth of gas in there. Okay, I just wanted to say, oh, here's one. I just wanted to see. Justin is a K car. Boxy. Okay, we're all done. Thanks to everybody for being on board. Appreciate everybody being here, and we'll see you next Sunday. Take it easy.